Good morning or afternoon, whichever time it happens to be that you're listening to this. I welcome you to our webinar today, which is titled Believe. And we're going to be talking about some really important things today. So if you haven't met me, the first thing and most important thing that I want you to realize and understand is that I absolutely love supporting people as they go through their transformation and who are excited about learning and growing to become better people. And I guarantee that this webinar is going to be a life-changing experience for you. So let's get started, and I'm going to share my screen with you, which takes me just a minute to get this silly thing all organized. So share, and okay, there's that, and play from the start. Okay, there we go. So today, our topic is about believe, and we're going to be talking about some things that you know because you're smart people. You already know this stuff, but we're going to be talking about why it's important to believe in yourself. Sorry about that. We have a squirrel. Thank you for your patience with that. Okay, so we're going to look at, here we go, there we go. Already did the welcome. Okay, why confidence is important. So self-esteem, we talk about self-esteem all the time, and it's how we view ourselves. It's our own value, our own sense of worthiness. It's a critical component to our decision-making, risk-taking, and motivation. So those with lower self-esteem tend to believe that they're not worthy of things as other people might be, such as achieving their personal goals, while those with higher self-esteem embody more resiliency to overcome obstacles because they're sure they are worth the desirable outcome. So think of one thing you hold a lot of value in. Maybe it's gardening, for example. You will even make sure to put in energy to keep your garden well watered and weeded. You may even exert extra effort into researching the plants you're growing to ensure they are in the best growing conditions and figure out a way to keep the deer out and things like that. That's similar to self-esteem, except that it is yourself that you care for rather than the garden. A healthy self-esteem or value in oneself breeds confidence. And confidence is being defined as a feeling of self-assurance rising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. So do you see where I'm going with this? A lack in self-confidence keeps us from living our lives to the fullest. We become afraid to freely express ourselves, contribute our ideas, and even share our talents. So the benefits of becoming more confident include more happiness and enjoyment, less self-doubt and limitations, gained strength and capabilities, freedom from fear and anxiety, reduction in stress, natural motivation, great and more attainable success. And so are you interested in learning how to make this shift happen? Well, stay tuned and we'll talk about how more you can have that happen. One of the things that I've always thought was important that people understand is that we interchange the words self-esteem and self-worth. And those two words are not interchangeable. They mean two completely different things. Your self-esteem is how you feel about yourself, and it's based on how other people give you input. So your self-esteem can go up or down depending on whether somebody is giving you positive affirmations or negative comments. So on any given day, you can feel really, really good about yourself because everybody's telling you how great you are, how much they appreciate the work that you do. And then the next day it can be in the gutter because somebody got mad at you, and you have this series of unpleasant events that happens that make you feel really bad about yourself. So self-esteem is very fluid and very fluctuating. The importance to understand about self-worth is that is your value as an individual, your value as a human being and as a person, as a child of God. You are of infinite worth. You are worth so much and can contribute so much value to the world and to the universe in general, just because you are you, just because you are here, just because you are a unique and beautiful individual. So it's really important to understand that while your self-esteem goes up and down, your self-worth, your value as a human being never, ever changes. It's always very, very high. So how do you talk to yourself? Yeah, you read that right. How do you talk to yourself? Are you harsh and judgmental or supporting and loving? Because we all talk to ourselves, sometimes even out loud. And there are two distinguishable modes of talking to ourselves: instructional, like working through a task, and motivational, such as, I can do this. The motivational self-talk is closely related to our confidence levels and what we believe we are capable of. The Faculty of Physical Education and Sports Sciences at the University of Tehran in Iran conducted a study of how motivational self-talk improved basketball abilities. Over 150 students were involved, and the results concluded that positive self-talk and a can-do attitude improved their speed and accuracy immensely versus the control group. So believing and telling yourself you are capable of a task, even a physical one, contributes to you excelling in it. Isn't that a great thing to know? So what happens when you don't talk so nicely to yourself? What would happen if you talked to your family and friends the way you talk to yourself? Would that be a good thing or a bad thing? So talking negatively to yourself can have different outcomes, but all have a common theme. It is not constructive or productive. Negative self-talk can be fueled by a number of things. Some non-productive outcomes include irrational beliefs about yourself, a bad mood that isn't addressed, persistent pessimism, being overly critical, fear and anxiety. They're all very real things that most of us experience, but the trick is stopping them in their tracks. If we do not reinforce our negative beliefs, they have no power over us. So some examples, I'm sure you can think of many of these all by yourself, but some examples of negative self-talk are, I'm not worth it. There's no use. I can't do it. People won't like me. I'm not enough. That's the big one. Others are better than me. My opinions don't matter. I don't matter. Nothing ever goes right. I must be perfect. Do not believe any of these things. They are wrong. They are not truth. So up next, I'll be sharing some examples of what you should tell yourself. Our minds are powerful machines. The thoughts we produce can translate into action, and that is how we truly achieve greatness. However, if we're filling our minds with negative comments about ourselves and our circumstances, we are creating boundaries for ourselves that we would not otherwise need to overcome. So think about your mind as a computer. You must program it efficiently for it to run smoothly and complete its task, and your mind is the same way. So you are putting up boundaries as to how much you can achieve in your life by the way you think. So instead of the negative self-talk examples I listed before, try these instead. I can handle this. I'm making progress. I'm in control of this. I'm willing to try. I will eventually get it. I have many likable qualities. I do not need to compare myself to others. I am complete as I am. It's normal to feel this way. And my personal favorite is a quote from John Lennon. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Do you have a favorite phrase that you like to tell yourself when you're presented with a struggle? Mantras and affirmations are two forms of self-talk that are used specifically to cultivate self-care. Much like the positive self-talk I mentioned before, their main purpose is to rewire your brain for a more confident and optimistic outlook. The main difference is these are exclusively performed out loud. While they have a similar goal, mantras and affirmations are, too, different from one another. Our brain has pathways in it that are created by our thoughts. The thoughts we think repeatedly over and over and over again are the ones that get the deepest pathways, so that when our brain is just kind of on hum and doing its own thing, those are the thoughts that come up in your mind. So if you're thinking negative thoughts, those are the neural pathways that you have created. From whatever reason, it could be an experience, it could be that somebody said something to you in your childhood and you believed what they said, and you've repeated that to yourself over and over again. So mantras are either words or sounds in any language that invoke a deeper focus, a meditative state, or a calming emotion. Many of you may be familiar with the Om mantra, often practiced within the yoga community. The sound Om vibrates at the frequency of 432 hertz, which happens to be the same vibrational frequency found throughout everything in nature. This is why it is considered a sacred sound. On the other hand, affirmations were developed by neuroscientists in the 70s with the goal of redirecting thought patterns and creating new neural pathways. These tend to be in complete sentences addressing something specific, and these are also performed out loud. So you try saying some of these every morning, maybe even when looking at yourself in the mirror. It's okay if it feels uncomfortable at first. That is the hallmark of the beginning of change. One of the things, if you do what's called the mirror exercise, is that you look at yourself in the eyes in the mirror. For many people, that's the first step that is really, really challenging. How many of us don't look at ourselves in the mirror, not really look at ourselves? So look at yourself eye to eye in the mirror, and then have a conversation with yourself, and you're going to feel really weird talking to yourself. But say positive affirmations, positive things about yourself, things that you're proud of, that you have accomplished, things that you did a really good job with, habits that you have had good success in overcoming that day. Anything that you can do that will be a positive thing to say to yourself. And then when you're done, say your name and say, I love you. And that's really, really hard for some people to do. If you do that practice every single day, at least once a day for the next 40 days, your life will completely change. Habits can either propel you in the direction of your goals or steer you off. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. I forgot to do you the other affirmations. So you would say, I love who I have become. I let go of negative thoughts and feelings about myself. I'm always growing and developing. My opinions resonate with who I am. I am whole and perfect the way I am. Both mantras and positive affirmations can help with problem solving, create inner clarity, increase positive emotions, increase the likelihood of personal success, and of course, increase confidence. But the most important and powerful words in the universe that you can use are the words, I am. The brain hears you say these words, followed by either a positive or a negative belief, and it goes to work to make sure that that I am statement becomes a reality for you. So start your most powerful affirmations with the words, I am. So what are some of your favorite mantras or affirmations? So habits can either propel you in the direction of your goal or steer you off the path from them. Either way, they have a powerful contribution to the outcome. There are even books written about it. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg specifically is a fantastic read on how our everyday habits affect the way we see ourselves and our likeliness of achieving our goals. He delves into defining a keystone habit as powerful tools to uncovering your true potential. They are made successful by lending our focus to one centralized goal and seeing other routines fall appropriately around them. For example, if you're determined to develop a daily exercise routine, it's likely that you'll notice yourself choosing to eat healthier, wake up earlier, and utilize your time more efficiently. Whatever your desired keystone habit may be, the idea is that working towards it will create a ripple effect in changing other routines in your life. Duhigg says, if you believe you can change, if you make it a habit, the change becomes real. This is the real power of habit. The cool thing is that we have the power to change ourselves. Nobody else, we can't change anybody else, but we can truly change ourselves. So if we have a personality trait that we don't like or that doesn't make our life run really well, we have the power to change that by developing different habits. I had a friend a long time ago who moved a lot because she was in a military family. And she told me that it was probably for her the best thing ever because she would go to a new school and try on a new personality to see if it worked for her or not. And some things would work and some things wouldn't work. And then when she moved to the next school, she would try on something different. And by the time I met her, she was an adult, of course. She was a great lady. I really, really enjoyed being around her. So what is a habit that you are looking to implement? All successful people have one unifying characteristic. They set goals for themselves. Naturally, we're inclined to do what has always worked for us. Therefore, when we set goals and succeed, we're more likely to continue the habit. This is also a huge personal development exercise. Just like anything else you want to get good at, practice is everything. Practicing setting goals for yourself and working towards them helps you recognize your potential and thus strengthening your confidence in yourself. A few tips to be sure you get the most out of goal setting include take small steps, create a timeline, give yourself credit along the way, and accept that failure is not a reason to give up. Number three, give yourself credit along the way is really important. We often don't do that. Sometimes we accomplish something and rather than giving us time to celebrate the, yay, I accomplished that, we move on to the next thing. Kind of like we're just checking things off of this list that we have that we want to accomplish in our life. It's like check, 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 check. Take time to actually live your life, to feel what's going on in your life and appreciate the times when you've really accepted or been successful with whatever goal you were trying to do. That is huge. In our connected world, solitude has become a dying art. We always have some way to get in contact with others. Is your phone glued to your hand? That isn't a bad thing, but it most certainly can take away from your relationship with yourself. A few of the benefits of being your own best friend include cultivation of self-awareness, ability to support and comfort yourself, increased acceptance of yourself rather than punishment, realization that you are fundamentally worthy. So think of how you would treat your best friend. Isn't that how you deserve to be treated too? Spending time alone doing things that make you happy is a great practice to add into your life. Whether it's reading a good book or strolling in nature, the possibilities for entertainment alone are endless and beneficial. What are some of the things that you love to do alone? I love to be in nature. I just so thoroughly enjoy walking through the trees. I love it when I go to Arizona. I walk through the cactus. It's just a beautiful, beautiful world that we live in, and appreciating nature and the beautiful things that have been created for us to enjoy is a way to really improve your life. Stress is unavoidable. We all have stress, but managing it is one of the most important ways of respecting yourself. And meditation can do just that. Meditation works by directing your body's attention to the parasympathetic nervous system, or better known as the home to the relaxation response. It triggers feelings of calmness and well-being, all the while contributing to clarity against the limiting beliefs we may have about ourselves. Meditation can be used as an incredible tool for confidence building in several ways. It helps you confront the negative beliefs you've created about yourself, invites the opportunity to spend quality time with yourself, and can become a beneficial habit added into your day. Meditation can be self-guided using a mantra or affirmation, or led by an instructor or online resource. Guided meditations are a great way to start. Try out whatever is accessible to you. A lot of people struggle with what I call squirrel brain when trying to meditate. So you're sitting there quietly, you're trying to meditate, and all of these random thoughts come rushing through your head. Oh yes, I forgot to pick this up at the grocery store. I need to write that down. Oh yes, I have to call so-and-so. And you start going through this list of all the things that you need to do. That's what I call squirrel brain. So instead of getting frustrated and saying that meditation doesn't work for you, here's a suggestion. The random thoughts that are clamoring for your attention in your brain, when they come in, say, I see you, I accept you, and then just let it go away. And it will move in, it will move away. It's just something that is trying to get your attention. You gave it your attention. You said, I see you, I accept you, and it'll go on its way. And if it's something that's really important, you'll remember it again when you're done with your meditation. So what kind of experience do you have with meditation? So again, you say, I see you, I accept you. Journaling. Journaling is not only for creative purposes, but for emotional health as well. Keep a journal, keep a journal around for times when you're feeling truly stuck on something, bringing you down, or even when you accomplish something you want to celebrate. Both situations can equally serve its purpose of boosting your self-confidence. Writing out negative experiencing is a tactical way of getting them out of your head and toward a more constructive solution. And you'll notice from the picture, it involves a pen and paper, not a computer. There is a hand-brain connection that is very, very healing when you involve the emotions. So you've got emotions, hand, and brain. And when you write things down, it's a different neural pathway than a typewriter, and it actually creates the opportunity for you to really feel differently. It's like you're not writing a story as much as you're putting part of you onto the paper, and it will really help. So maintaining a gratitude or awesomeness journal puts you in the position of recognizing all the good about yourself and life on a day-to-day basis. I have an accountability partner who suggested that we send gratitudes to each other each evening before we go to bed. So we do. We will send each other our gratitudes for the day. We think up 3 and we share them with one another. And then I write in my own personal gratitude journal the things that I'm grateful for. And on the days when I'm having a really, really bad day, sometimes it just might be, I'm grateful I didn't get run over by a car today. Whatever it is, if you can find something to be grateful for. I'm grateful I have running water in my house. I'm grateful that my plant didn't die. Whatever it is that you can be grateful for, start with the small stuff. And then you'll find that The more times you express gratitude, the more things you will find to be grateful for. So whether you're writing in, maintaining a gratitude or awesomeness journal, recognizes the things that are awesome about you and the things that you're grateful for, the things that are going on really well in your life. You can do it on an online platform, but really the handwritten is the best. But if you have a choice, I mean, if you don't have any options, starting somewhere is really important. Do it on your phone even. Send yourself a note. So now I'm going to be showing you some practical journal prompts that will get you started. In the journal, I do not just express myself more openly than I could to any person. I create myself, by Susan Sontag. You can put things in your journal that you would never say to anybody else. I used to have what I called a burn at my death journal. I did not want my family to read it, but I needed some place to put all of those really dark, negative things. And that's where it went, is in that journal. Eventually, I burned it myself because I didn't need it anymore. But here are some journal prompts to help boost self-confidence, practice self-love, and begin your writing journey. What are you grateful for? What do you want to feel tomorrow? How did you surprise yourself this week? What are you really good at? How would your best friend describe you? What makes you unique? Who appreciates you? What will you accomplish in the next 5 years? What is the best compliment you have ever received? What emotions do you associate with confidence? And write a letter to your body, thanking it for all that it does for you. And you can let us know if there's any other topics that you think ought to be added to that list. So while we're on the subject of journaling, a really effective way to check in with yourself and to establish some motivation to reach your goals is to write a letter to your future self. This can be a very insightful experience. It puts you in the now and represents the things you want to be sure you remember. Imagine writing a letter addressed to yourself for you to read 5 years from now. What would you say? What kind of questions would you like to ask? What goals would you like to have achieved? As you write your letter, you'll begin to think of the actions you could take now to ensure that letter is relevant in the future. Write it up with pen and paper, seal it up in an envelope, and keep it in a safe space. And then you can just make sure you don't forget where you put it. But then in 5 years, then you open it up and you read it and you see, it gives you an opportunity to see where you were, how far you've come, how much you have grown, and how many of those goals that you wrote down you have accomplished. So how many of you are going to try this? A visual interpretation of your goals, values, and passions is a great addition to your living space. A vision board, in particular, can be used to motivate you, cultivate gratitude, and express your creativity. So here's how. Define your intentions. What do you want? How do you want to be feeling? What is it that you feel you need? Gather your supplies of choice. You could use a poster board or even just a blank sheet of paper. Find images that resonate with your intentions from the internet, magazines, or any other resource you find useful. And then create. Make sure to create a mix of words and images that fit the qualifying theme of your vision. Place them in a way that makes you feel good and glue away. Place it in an area of your home that you will be able to see regularly. And everyone's will look completely different, and that is the point. So maybe you want to cultivate a sense of joy. You'll want to include images and words that make you feel joyful. Or maybe it's security. If that's the case, you'll want to collect the things that make you feel safe. Whatever your goal may be, keep in mind you are making this for you. Do you have any experience creating vision boards? I've actually turned my mirror into a vision board. I've taken a Sharpie pen and I write my affirmations on my mirror and attach pictures to it. Every single day I have to look at it because I have to get ready for work. I have to be doing whatever you do when you get ready in the morning. And I look at those affirmations and then I see them again at night. So for me, that really worked. A strong support system is an important tool when life gets a bit heavy. As mentioned before, building your self-confidence is a progress and truly not a linear experience. Some days you will feel better than others. Some days you'll be able to find solace alone, and others you'll be longing for external support, and all of that is okay. There is no substitute for having people you can trust and rely on to make you feel good. Turn to family and friends when you need to talk rather than getting caught in the dread negative self-talk loop I talked about earlier. They can lift your spirits and help you recognize the faulty beliefs you're manifesting about yourself in trying times. It's really important that you surround yourself with really happy people. If it turns out that your family members are not those happy people, turn to your friends. Somebody loves you. Somebody wants to be with you. Somebody wants to hear you. If you need, I can be that somebody. So far, we've discussed how to cultivate greatness for ourselves with how we think, reach for our goals, and who we surround ourselves with. But there is more. The way we present ourselves are not only indicators of our confidence, but also a way to strengthen it. We've all heard when you look good, you feel good. But have you heard of power poses? Power poses are simply the body language we embody when interacting with people that emulates and creates confidence. So you've heard about the Superman pose. You know how Superman stands with his legs kind of spread apart and his fists on his hip and takes a big, sticks his chest out and he looks really, really strong. If you do that just before you have a potentially challenging interaction with somebody, that will help you stand in your power. Don't forget to love yourself. This by far is the most important part of the process. Some days you're going to feel more confident than others, but it is a huge feat to love yourself despite it all. You are perfect just the way you are. Even when you aren't feeling like it, you deserve to be loved. And you should remind yourself of that regularly. One of my affirmations is, I am love, loving, and lovable. Everyone has a different ways of expressing their loves to themselves. Here are a few great ideas that I advocate for. Take a nice long walk outside. Take a nice long bath. Make plans with an old friend. Unplug for a weekend. Visit your favorite shop. Plan an adventure. Get a massage. These are only a fraction of the many things you can do to show yourself that you are loved. When the whole world looks like it's going to heck in a handbasket and falling apart and you feel like nobody loves you, the most important person to get that love from is you. So what ways do you show yourself that you love yourself? So here's a few of my favorite quotes. Pick your favorite and post it somewhere to go back to when you need a reminder. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Buddha. A man cannot be comfortable without his own approval. Mark Twain. Remember always that you do not have the right to be an individual. You have an obligation to be one. Eleanor Roosevelt. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Why should we worry about what others think of us? Do we have more confidence in their opinions than we do our own? Brigham Young. Too many people overvalue what they are not and undervalue what they are. Malcolm S. Forbes. You have been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. Louise Hay. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. Oscar Wilde. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. If you've enjoyed this time, I've enjoyed having it with you. You can kind of reach out to me. You can find me on this Facebook link, or you can send me an email, michelle@isoulshift.com. If you're struggling with how you feel about yourself, sometimes it's really difficult because you've got so much negative baggage, negative programming that you carry around because of what happened to you in your childhood or some sort of trauma that you may have experienced. Perhaps you have been betrayed by somebody that you trusted above all else and you can't figure out how to put your life back together. I can help you with that. I have lots and lots of experience. I've been coaching for 30 years, and I would love to have the opportunity to have a conversation with you to see if there's some way that I might be able to help you with your self-confidence, with your desires and abilities to move forward, and just so that you can have a love affair with yourself. Thank you so much for sharing this experience with me. I love sharing this topic with people who are eager to take control of their life and achieve greatness. Also, don't forget to thank yourself for loving yourself enough to take some time for you. So if you have any further questions, please email me at that link that I gave you before, and I am always here to support you. I'm going to quit my share, turn my video back on. Stop my share here. Thanks so much for joining me today. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Have time to have that conversation with yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how amazingly awesome you are and how much you love yourself. And that's going to be really hard for some of you. But I promise you, as you keep practicing it, eventually one day you're going to go, wow, I felt that. I really do love myself. Take care, and I will see you next month with another webinar. Bye.